For a long time, the BMW 3 Series was the premium sedan to beat. And then it wasn't. Something happened along the way to its steering feedback and its driver appeal, just as its two fiercest rivals, the Audi A4 and Mercedes-Benz C-Class, were starting to come good. Really good. So this all-new G20 Generation 3 Series has a lot to prove. Not only does it need to save BMW's enthusiast reputation, it needs to do so by wiping the floor with the German competition. Too much of an ask or a walk in the park? Ensuring the new Gen 3 Series hits home hard is a newfound level of value for money in the headline 330i model. BMW claims it has added over 11 grand worth of additional equipment for the same $71,900 starting price as the previous 330i, including a standard M Sport package with M Sport brakes, adaptive LED headlights, Vernasca leather upholstery, a surround view parking camera with remote 3D view, cordless Apple CarPlay, wireless phone charging, and driving assistant professional, which includes just about every active safety feature most of us are even aware of. If you want the look of our test car, however, you'll need to dig deep into BMW's M Performance extras, including 8 grand's worth of black 20-inch Y-spoke alloys. Yet even at an as-tested price of $97,906, there's a look of expense about the M Performance enhanced 330i M Sport that transcends its dollar value. Audi's A4 45 TFSI Quattro undercuts the BMW's entry price by $600, but it too raises the glamour stakes via several additional options packages. Our favourites being the $1,300 S-Line package, which brings matte titanium Audi Sport 19-inch alloys, a black dashboard and headlining, perforated leather gear knob, brushed aluminium inlays, stainless steel pedals, sports front seats with variable headrests, and an S-Line steering wheel. And there's also the must-have $5,600 Technic package with its Matrix LED headlights, fantastic Bang & Olufsen 3D surround sound system, and classy head-up display. Add $1,950 worth of seductive Napa leather, among other individual additions, and you end up with an Audi A4 costing $89,680. That retains its position at the top of the tree when it comes to interior quality and tactility. It might be 4 years since the current A4 was introduced to the world, but its considered elegance hasn't aged a day. The W205 Mercedes-Benz C-Class is the veteran of our German triumvirate, having launched internationally in early 2014. It was put through an extensive midlife enhancement program in 2018, which included 6,500 new or modified parts to maintain the competitiveness of Australia's best-selling luxury car. The new C300 starts at $71,400 and boasts stuff like 19-inch alloys, keyless entry and start, a multi-configurable 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, just like its rivals, a new widescreen 10.25-inch multimedia system with digital radio and smartphone integration, and standard driver assistance package with adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, active blind spot monitoring, and rear cross traffic alert. But our test car's tally reached $90,781, courtesy of crucial options such as AMG line, which brings a bunch of sporting enhancements as well as sports suspension to bring it into line with the 330i and A4, dynamic body control, a command package with online infotainment, a Burmester surround sound system, an active lane change assist, and a vision package with panoramic glass sunroof, 360-degree camera, a head-up display, a multi-beam LED intelligent lighting system. The new 3 Series interior is trying really hard to add some colour and texture, and for the most part it succeeds. It starts with this active information display that replaces normal analogue dials. It's also things like the speaker grills here that are three-dimensional and add some point of difference to the interior, but it's crowned by this vast touchscreen in the centre here. Not only do you have cordless Apple CarPlay, but you have inductive charging in here, and you can run it all on the move with your finger, unlike the A4 and C-Class competition that still needs you to use the dial in the center console, which now just feels clunky. But overall, this is such an improvement over the dour interior of the car it replaces. The backseat of a 3 Series has been pretty good for a couple of generations now, and this one continues the trend, although the Audi A4 is better. What you have here is rear air vents, full rear climate control, and 2 micro USB inputs, plus a 12-volt outlet, and pretty good room. What you don't quite have is the under-thigh support and lateral support in the seat that the Audi gives you.
I think the interior of the C-Class has aged a lot better than the exterior. This car is 5 years old and still has a lot of visual interest inside, particularly these Burmester speaker grills that it has had since launch. This updated car, however, gets a much broader screen in the center here, which is optional in this car, but it doesn't have a touchscreen, which is kind of annoying. And it also has this active information display here where you can configure the digital dials. Best of all though in this car is this AMG steering wheel, which is part of the AMG line package, which just adds this sporty realness to the car and makes up for the fact that the seats don't have quite enough under thigh support. But you can tell that the wheel isn't quite aligned with the seat. It's a little bit to the left like old E-Classes used to be, and that means that its driving position isn't as good as the A4s and the 3 Series. It's almost like Mercedes-Benz designed the backseat of a C-Class to push people up into the E-Class, because this is not a comfortable place to be. There isn't enough under thigh support, the cushion is really short and flat, the backrest is too far back, and so when you're sitting here, you've got bits of your hair and that touching the roof lining because you've got the big double sunroof standard in these cars. And even though the vision's fine, I don't think you'd want to sit here for very long, certainly not as an adult. The current generation A4 turns 4 years old this year, and this interior has had almost 0 changes, and yet it is bang up to date. In fact, it is the best finished car here. Now, these 3 sedans are all about $70,000 worth, but each have about $20,000 worth of options. And in the A4, I think they go further than the other cars. You've got this beautiful Nappa leather upholstery, which is much nicer than the other 2 cars' leather, and this amazing 3D Bang & Olufsen sound system that is just ear-splittingly beautiful. You've also got this flat-bottomed S-Line steering wheel that it shares with a TT, which I absolutely love. It's the best one in your hands here, best seating position. Love the active info display in front of you here and the way you can change it and switch around just from a steering wheel spoke. I am sitting in easily the best rear seat of these 3 cars. Not only do I have the best under thigh and seat support, I've got the best view, I've got proper door grabs on the door, and I still have things like temperature adjustable air vents, a 12-volt outlet, this amazingly comfortable armrest with these little pop-out cup holders. There's just quality oozing from every pore of the A4.
The new Gen 330i essentially carries over its drivetrain from the previous model, though with calibration improvements. Its 2-litre turbo petrol 4-cylinder engine produces 190 kilowatts across an impressively broad range, 5,000 to 6,500 RPM, and a chubby 400 Newton meters of torque from 1,550 to 4,400 RPM. BMW claims it's strong enough to thrust the rear-drive 330i from 0 to 100 in 5.8 seconds, the equal best time here. The 330i also managed to out-thrift its rivals, averaging 8.9 litres per 100 kilometres on test.
From the moment that you turn the wheel in the new G23 series, you know that something has changed. And it's all about the immediacy of the response and the feedback that you're getting, both of which were lacking in its predecessor. Now, that car's balance was still really good, but this car's is even better again. You can feel the back pointing the front end from the moment you turn into a corner, and yet the opposite of that is that the ride is still really livable too. Like, we're on nearly 9 grand's worth of M Performance 20-inch wheels here with run flat tyres, and the ride in this car is completely livable. No, it's not plush, but for what this sort of car is and how sporty it is and how great its handling is, it's really terrific and quiet. The other thing that's terrific about this car is its drivetrain. It's carried over from its predecessor. The transmission as well, the 8-speed automatic, but both of them have been improved. The transmission's calibration is faultless. The engine is raspy and sweet and lovely and just makes the most glorious sound both in the cabin and from the twin rear pipes. Now, the only thing that I can pick on it for is that in sport mode, it introduces this synthesized induction sound into the cabin that is completely unnecessary.
The A4's 2-litre turbo petrol 4-cylinder engine is related to the same excellent powertrain in the Golf GTI, though turned lengthways. In the all-drive Audi, it produces 185 kilowatts at 5,000 to 6,000 RPM and a solid 370 Newton meters from 1,600 to 4,500 RPM, closely mirroring the BMW's outputs. And that plays out on the road, with Audi claiming an identical 5.8 seconds for the A4's 0 to 100 sprint. Our test car also came close to matching the BMW's efficiency with 9.1 litres per 100 kilometres on test.
Now, the biggest surprise of this comparison test is not that the BMW 3 Series is so good, it is that the Audi A4 is so good. Because who would have thought that a 4-year-old Audi would still be as competitive and as all-round great as this 45 TFSI Quattro is. The engine is strong and snarly and lovely, although not quite as peachy as the BMWs. The transmission is excellent. The all-wheel drive system is really engaging. You can feel it sending drive to the back, punching out of corners. The steering is really keen, and even though it isn't quite as dynamically excellent as the BMW, it is so close, and it is entertaining in a different way because it's an all-wheel drive car. I could honestly live with the A4 every single day, and other than the fact that it looks like I would be balls deep into banking and the stock exchange, I would be eternally grateful.
The Mercedes-Benz C300 boasts an uprated version of the brand's familiar 2-litre turbo petrol 4-cylinder, now with a class-competitive 190 kilowatts and 370 newton metres, and more gear ratios than any rival thanks to a new 9G-tronic 9-speed automatic. That drivetrain reads well on paper, as does Mercedes' 0-100 claim of 5.9 seconds, though it can't quite match the sweetness and crispness of its BMW and Audi alternatives, and nor can its economy, averaging 10 litres per 100 kilometres on test.
In isolation, the C300 is actually a pretty good car. Its engine's pretty strong, it handles pretty well, it can carry a fair amount of corner speed, and generally all the changes that were made in the 2018 update have made it a better vehicle. But it has been flawed from the moment that it launched. The thing is, unlike the AMG models that have all of this eye-widening performance and this visceral thrill factor that just makes you forget about the flaws of the car because you're so in awe of how fast they are, the C300 doesn't have that. And so you find that all of those flaws are staring you directly in the face. And in this super competitive world of 2019, up against the BMW and the incredibly strong Audi A4, the C-Class just comes off as an also-ran. After 2 generations of not quite there 3 Series, it's sweet relief to say that BMW's reputation maker is back on the field kicking goals. It has the most entertaining chassis here, as well as the most flavoursome drivetrain, and this 330i variant with M Sport diff proves BMW hasn't forgotten what it takes to create a great sporting sedan. The thing is, Audi's A445 TFSI Quattro runs it so damn close. This generation has been on sale since 2015 and it is still the benchmark for seat comfort, interior room and build quality, and is also a great driver's car. If the 330i's sporting X-factor doesn't matter so much, then the A4's stunning consistency and all-round greatness make it a cracking runner-up.